red and green colors simultaneously, but in most cases, marine fish tend to fluoresce in single color. So that's all from our group.
Thank you very much. Group 11, this was really nice. I like the theme that you had. It does give the Christmas vibe. And you guys had some really nice points to give. So thank you very much. So now I call upon Group 6 to give their presentation.
Hello and good afternoon. Today, my group is going to talk about seagrass meadow. Next slide. Seagrass is the only flowering plants, also known as angiosperm, that live underwater. Seagrass have leaf roots which anchor them in seafloor land, also produce flower and seeds. Seagrass meadow or seagrass bed is an underwater ecosystem formed by seagrasses. Seagrasses provide shelter and food to an incredibly diverse community of animals, from tiny invertebrates to large fish, crabs, turtles, marine mammals, and birds. Seagrass provide many important services to people as well. Next slide. The location seagrass are found all over the world. Seagrass prefer sheltered places such as shallow bay, lagoons, and estuaries. There are some places that I got from a location in Malaysia, which is at Sungai Pulai Johor. Next, Pulau Mabu Sabah. While location that outside of the Malaysia is next Pulau Ubin Cik Jawa, Singapore, and also next Hat Choi Mai, Thailand. Next, I will give to my friend to present about marine animal found in seagrass meadows. Okay?
Seagrass meadows, often called as nursery habitats because of its leafy underwater canopy that provides shelter for small invertebrates, including adult and juvenile fish. The accumulation of smaller organisms attracts bigger animals. As a result, seagrass can be home to many types of fish, sharks, turtles, marine mammals, mollusks, crustaceans, and sea urchins. For example, dugong, or known as dugong. It is exclusively benthic or bottom feeders. It is also a herbivore that consumes living seagrass tissues. Their primary feeding mechanism is uprooting seagrass by digging furrows in the seafloor with their snouts. Next is sea turtle, or Selonia midas. It is also a grazer like dugong and manatees, but their method of feeding keeps seagrass beds healthy by cropping the leafy growth of the plant but leaving the roots to let the seagrass continue to grow. Next organism is rays. Rays are considered as continuous foragers because they feed on multiple organisms throughout the day and more so at night. Their major prey were crustaceans and small fishes that live within the seagrass meadows. Another example is Pelicanus onoctrotalus, or known as pelicans. Pelicans fly over seagrass beds in search for prey such as fish. Once a fish is spotted, the pelican plunges into the water using its pouch-like bill to scoop its prey. Next, the plant found in seagrass meadows are Zostera marina, Posidonia oceanea, Cymodosia cerulata. For Zostera marina, also known as eelgrass, it is a grass-like flowering plant with dark green, long, narrow leaves with rounded tips. It serves as nurseries for many marine vertebrates. It also helps stabilize the substrates and often used in marine habitats restoration. Zostera may be grazed by birds such as swan and geese and green turtles. Next plant is Mediterranean tapeweed. Posidonia oceanea are a very slow growth and have a poor reproduction rate. It grows up to 3 meters that can be in 1,000 of years because it grows 1 centimeter to 2 centimeter per year. There are some species that depend on Posidonia oceanea habitat, such as coralline algae and mollusks, which grow between the seagrass shoots. The last one is serrated ribbon seagrass. It is a long ribbon-like leaf with blunt, rounded tips that has serration. Some animals, such as dugong, eat this seagrass in exchange to halophilia. Next.
Next is physical features of seagrass in the aspect of abiotic factors that affect the ecosystem. Firstly is salinity. Salinity influences the growth rate of seagrass. Many seagrass has the ability to adapt in fluctuation of salinity over time. However, there are some seagrass species which has higher tolerance towards changes in salinity compared to others. So let's say if one species has low tolerance of salinity, live in an area that is high in salinity, then the rate of its survivability will decrease. So next, salinity also play a key role in competitive interaction between different plant species. Like for example, Cenodosa species inhabits only in more saline area where fluctuations occur between 26 to 44 ppt, while P. oceanica inhabits marine water which high salinity but with less variation of salinity. So if the salinity did not reach the requirements of one species, then the other that can survive that condition will dominate the area. So next is temperature. Temperature affect the biological processes such as photosynthesis and respiration. Where these processes are very slow in low temperature, but photosynthesis at high temperature will result in negative energy balance within the plants. So basically, it's not good for the seagrass if the temperature is very, very low or very high. Next, the temperature also contribute in controlling the geographical distribution of species. For example, like Cenodosa and P. oceanea grow in warmer environment between 10 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. So these species can only be found in warmer water as they cannot survive in low than 10 degree temperature environment or higher than 30 degrees Celsius. So this means every species has different temperature requirement for them to survive, depends on the area. Next is nutrient. Seagrass able to survive nutrient poor environment. Actually, nutrient level in seagrass water column typically low, especially in warmer areas. This is because they has the ability to take up nutrients from sediment for their growth and biological purposes. Also, seagrasses has less requirement compared to other aquatic organisms, such as macroalgae and plankton. Actually, seagrass need 4 times less nutrient per weight compared to phytoplankton, which means they can adapt in environment with low nutrient. Okay, next point is oxygen. Oxygen affect the metabolism of seagrass. Okay, seagrass need oxygen to supply metabolism to above and below ground tissue of the plant, as actually the plant live in the oxygenic water column while the roots and rhizome buried in anoxic sediment. So less oxygen means less efficiency to supply the metabolism where it can negatively affect the growth, also the survival of the plant. This may cause less energy availability when the tissue of plant experience lack of oxygen. Then Anoxic condition may occur, where it might cause the invasion of sulfide from sediments. Sulfide is actually toxic to the seagrass cells. Okay, next slide. Water clarity. Water clarity may decrease the light intensity to reach the bottom, where it can lower the rate of photosynthesis. Seagrass and other aquatic organisms that need light to undergo photosynthesis will be affected if the water clarity is very low, like actually like being covered by plankton bloom. Next is currents. Strong currents will carry sediments, where actually it may bring sediments and bury the plants, tear up, or even detach them from the sediment. However, mild current able to distribute nutrient throughout the ecosystem, where even plant located in low nutrient environment might has the chance to live longer and reproduce. Lastly is solar energy. Solar energy is essential for photosynthesis process. Enough solar energy will allow the seagrass to grow and produce more, resulting in increasing the population of that particular species. Solar energy also helps in regulate the maximum depth of seagrass distribution. This is because seagrass can only live in shallow coastal water at depth where light can easily passing through the water and reach the bottom. So it's basically where the seagrass can receive enough light for their growth. Okay, next slide.
Okay, the next is unique characteristic of organism or its adaptation. Okay, the reason why sea turtle, dugong, and
Hi, Siti.
stingfish
Sorry, can you just increase your the volume, please?
sorry. Hello?
Okay, good.
Okay, the reason why sea turtle, dugong, and stingfish can be found at seagrass meadow because seagrass provide them with nutrient. Them actually feeding on seagrass. Okay. So sea turtle have a beak with serrated edges like saw teeth. It allows them to rip seagrass and scrape algae from hard surface. So dugong have a sensitive snout. The snout that end with a cleft help the dugong in finding food like seagrass at the bottom. So stingrays, for stingray, they have mouth on their outside that allow them to feed on creatures that live on the ocean floor. Stingray is lack of buoyancy, so they can sink to the ocean floor and hide from predator in the sand for long period. The next is a bird. It found at the area because they feeding on organisms that live in seagrass area. Pelacanus onocratalus has long beak and large throat, found for catching prey and draining water from the scoop up contents before swallowing. Then the short, strong legs then help them to swim well. For Zostera marina, known as eelgrass, it has rhizome and strong roots, anchor seagrass to the sediment and flexible blades for little resistant to water movement. It consists of a canal in the leaf to carry down the oxygen to rhizome and roots. Their leaf contain a layer of green pigment which capture light to provide energy through photosynthesis for their growth. For Posidonia oceania, they have a subsurface rhizome and roots that can help to stabilize the plant in the water. And then they have erect rhizome and leaf that can reduce silt accumulation. For the last is a Cymodokia cerulata. They have a short shoot that were elevated above the sediment under low light condition, and last, they can produce horizontal steam. The
Siti, you're going faint again, Siti.
Hello? 'Okay, 'okay. 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 'Okay, 'okay
And now I cannot hear you at all.
Okay, so okay.
I still can't hear you.
Semodokia solidata can produce oxygen, produce horizontal steam because they can produce it under higher light condition.
The study case is does warming enhance the impact of nutrition in the seagrass Posidonia oceanea. The study show one of the reasons declination of the seagrass are the so-called cultural integration which enhanced by the temperature. Excessive inorganic nitrogen fixation can indirectly inhibit seagrass growth and survival by reducing light availability due to phytoplankton overgrowth. The result revealed that plants in eutrophication area are more sensitive to further increase of nutrient with a presence of a higher temperature. However, there are some species, such as T. oceanica, manage to recover after a short term of warming events. That's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Seagrass Group.
Mm,
Yes.
No, no, no. I just want to say thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I call upon the next group, Group 14.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon to Dr. Mel and all my classmates. So here is group 14 and we will talk about the deep sea ecosystem. So first of all, the deep sea ecosystem covers the vast zone of open ocean that is below 200 meters. It includes the Baffin zone, which generally the continental slope to 4,000 meters, the apical zone, where between 4,000 and 6,000 meters, and the Hadal zone, which basically more than 6,000 meters. Next.
Alright, so hi guys, I'm Anthony. So here I'm going to tell you all about the physical property in the deep sea. So here's the table in the left hand side is showing the range from 0 meter is which is the ocean surface to the around 11,000 meters, which means the deep sea. So normally the physical property in the deep sea will depends on the temperature, salinity, pressure, and density. So the right hand side here is showing the graph. The reason I put here is because I want to show you guys actually the trends of changing in the temperature and all these physical properties. And this graph actually lack of the pressure graph, but as we all know, the pressure is increasing, and at the same time the density is increasing also. And then actually the pressure is giving the most significant effect to the deep ocean. This is the reason why not every kind of marine organism able to survive in deep sea, and except some kind of organisms such as the whale. And because the whale, we all know they can dive in quite deep inside, and also they can move to the water surface. So here is the example of the deepest part of the ocean. So all these three is out of Malaysia. So the first one is the Mariana Trench. So it's located is quite close to the Philippines, and you guys can see here it's got the red word, and which means it's the Challenger Deep. So the Challenger Deep is actually is the non deepest spot in the world. So it's around like uh 10,000 10,000 something meters deep. And then next one is Tonga Trench. Tonga Trench is near to the New Zealand here, New Zealand. And then the last one, Philippine Trench. So Philippine Trench is also near to the Mariana Trench, just beside it. Okay, so this is the top three deepest part in the ocean. Now, next I'll invite my teammates to explain about the marine organism in the deep ocean.
Okay, good afternoon, guys. I'm Quake, and I'll be presenting about the morphological adaptations of fishes governed by death. The first group is epipelagic fishes. Epipelagic fishes have streamlined body, which increase hydrodynamics, which is required to pursue prey. Examples being the swordfish. Epipelagic fishes also have strong muscles. This allows for stronger constrictions and greater swimming speed. The DO at this depth is also high enough to support the high power output. The coloration of epipelagic fishes are counter-shaded. They have a lighter ventral side to fool predators, which lurks below, and also a darker shade of the dorsal face, which hides the predators from the prey swimming above. Bioluminescence is absent, as sunlight is still able to penetrate this zone. Okay, next. Okay, next will be the mesopelagic vertical migrators. This ranges from the surface layer of 200 meters to 1,000 meters. Their muscles are moderately strong, which is suitable for short bursts of speed for ambush hunters. Their muscles are also suitable for dire vertical migrations, of which is displayed by lanternfishes of the Diaphus genus. Dire vertical migration is required for feeding and sometimes mating. Their size are smaller too. Food sources and quantity can be quite low in the eutrophic or oligotrophic seas. Thus, the fishes evolve to be smaller and greatly fluctuates in the population size and biomass as governed by nutrients abundance. The eye sizes are very large and sensitive, which houses denser light sensors in the retina to detect various elements in the environment. Bioluminescence is common. It evolves as counter-illumination to fool other fishes, and it is also a mode of communication for Humboldt squids. The body types are elongated with laterally flattened bodies. These aid in drifting and increase hydrodynamics. Coloration at this depth are black with silver sides and bellies. These absorb light so that none reflects. Some also evolve silver sides in order to blend in with the sheen that is refracted through the water column. The light sources at this depth can be from bioluminescence of symbiotic bacteria. Next. Okay, next will be bathypelagic non-vertical migrators. The muscle at this depth are evolved to be weak with less dense myofibers. This is in order to conserve energy as they drift along, waiting for food particles to sink. Dissolved oxygen at this depth is very low and is unable to support high muscle power outputs. The camouflage color that is evolved in this depth is usually red. This is very common in this pelagic zone as the wavelength is totally attenuated. Examples of which are the big red jellyfish, Tiburonia granrojo. Eyes are very large and sensitive at this depth also. Tubular eyes usually evolve. They are able to spot prey or food particles from above. The tubular shape of the eyeball also allows for longer focal length and magnification, which the example is barrel eye fishes of the family Ophistoproctidae. The coloration and the size is similar to the pelagic zone above it. Next. Next will be the bathypelagic non-vertical migrators. Muscle at this depth is very... sorry. I'm confused. Okay, next will be the bathypelagic zone. Which leaves the deep pelagic fishes. This can be down to 4,000 meters, and the sizes of the fishes compared to the mesopelagic fishes are quite large. The food sources are often obtained through predation. For example, the Greenland Greenland shark. Evolution opted for larger bodies for predator to overpower their prey. Bioluminescence is very common. This is in order to attract prey, for example, the anglerfish. They form symbiotic relationship with light-generating bacteria in the esker or lure. Coloration are black or reddish brown. For example, some are even translucent or transparent because no light and there's no need for pigment. Next. Okay, next will be the benthic habitat. Organisms at this depth evolve strong muscles and elongated bodies. They are able to stalk and ambush prey while laying low in the substrate. Examples include the faceless cusk. Other examples include the snailfish from the family Leporidae. Adaptations which make the snailfish more suited for benthic life include dorsal ventrically flattened bodies and adhesive discs at the pelvic fins. They also evolve antifreeze proteins in order to cope with the chilling temperatures. Monkfish of the Lophius genus, although living in shallower waters, are also demersal fishes. They ambush their prey on the benthic layer as well. Their size are relatively large due to deep sea gigantism, and this is due to more deposit nutrients formed by marine snow. Deposit feeders, scavengers, and even predators can grow to greater proportions. They have no eyes, or their eyes are small and crystalline light sensors only. Eyes either evolve partially or completely, depending on when the species first start to adapt to deep sea life. They navigate their environment through chemical or electromagnetism. Thank you.
Okay, for the new discovery, the scientists had found the siphonophores. It is actually a colonial animal. It is found over 2,000 feet below the Indian Ocean. They are typically elongated and rope-like. They were recorded as longest animal ever discovered, which is more than 150 feet in length. There are gelatinous, so most of them will disintegrate when sampled with nets. There are about thousands of conjoined twins throughout their life. So some with only legs will be used to move everybody, some with mouth to ingest food, and others enlarge heart to circulate shared blood. The next one, the deep sea exploration. The current scientific field operation involve multi-year cycle to collect sample and data and then analyze. So the scientists from Arizona State University, they are part of subsea program. They experimental a new approach towards scientific process of geochemical exploration of the Earth and beyond. They use the ROV Hercules to process multiple runs and data of geochemical calculation at Gorda Reach in Northeast Pacific Ocean. This technology will speed up the ability to interpret the data within short times by using the programming languages. So that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Group 14. I kind of like the new discovery that you guys found. So well done. Okay, so I call upon Group 12 for their presentation.
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. We are from Group 12. Our topic today is continental shelf seabed. Next. Definition of continental shelf is a shallow submarine plain that forms a border to a continent. They are typically ending in a comparatively steep slope to the ocean floor technically. The part of a continent that lies under the ocean is sloped down to the floor, to the ocean. Next. Definition and types of seabed. Seabed is the ground under the sea, which is the ocean floor. There are three types of seabed in the form of shape. First one is flat seabed, which is simple plane and can be horizontal sloping. Second one is profile seabed, which is specified by 2D profile in a particular direction and in horizontal direction. Third is 3D seabed, which is the allow to specify fully general 3D surface for seabed. Next. Location of continental shelf in Malaysia. First is Sabah, that comprise the seabed and subsoil of the submarine areas. Next. The second location is in Sarawak, which is important for accumulation of organic matter. Next. And in Terengganu, which contain valuable resources such as oil and gas and minerals. Next. Location of continental shelf in overseas. First is in coast of the new US state of Alaska, which is known as a continental fishery. Next. The second one is Gulf of Continental Slope. Next. Next.
Okay.
And the last one is in United Kingdom, which is also has steep continental slope. Next. Presenter.
Okay, now we will see the organisms that can be found at the continental shelf seabed. There are two common types which are at the hard bottom seabed and also the soft bottom seabed. At the hard bottom seabed, we can commonly see herbivores and also carnivores due to the fact that there are plants at hard bottom seabed. Okay, first we will see the primary producers, which is the napkin grass, or also known as Mediterranean tapeweed. Scientific name Posidonia oceanica. This particular seagrass can only be found at Mediterranean and is also called as the Mediterranean lungs due to the fact that it can absorb almost 15 times more carbon than the Amazon forest, and it is also very important to the Mediterranean Sea due to the fact that they cover 3% of the seabed floor at the Mediterranean seabed. This particular seagrass is also unique due to the fact that they are the only seagrass that can produce balls of fiber when the leaves are turned off, called ALGAE poly. These balls of fiber is fire and rot resistant and also a friendly form of insulation. And many people in the near the Mediterranean Sea collect these balls and sometimes use them to light up the fires in their home for insulation due to the fact that they are fire resistant. So it can be long lasting, and it can even cost thousands or even millions of dollars if sell to other countries such as Egypt due to the fact that this seagrass can also be used as medicines. And this balls of fiber is commonly found near the beaches at the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. Next, we have the sickle seagrass or Thalassia hempricea. This seagrass can be found also in the continental shelf seabed, and is closely related to lilies, and it is sickle shaped. Can be found throughout the tropical Indo-West Pacific region. Then we have the HALIMEDA algae, or also known, or the scientific name is HALIMEDA incrastata. This is a very, very interesting and unique algae because this is the only primary producer that deposits calcium carbonate at its leaves here. They deposit calcium carbonates, making them the only primary producer that is inedible to eat for herbivores. So it's a calcareous reef building algae, but they are not considered as corals. They are algae due to the fact that they can still photosynthesize. this white stuff here is the calcium carbonate that they have deposited so that they can protect themselves from being eaten. Now we proceed to the animals. The first animal is the robust ghost pipefish, or also known as Solenostomus cyanopterus. It looks similar to the family in seahorses, trumpetfish, but it is not a true trumpetfish due to the fact that the males does not carry the eggs, but the females carry the eggs. You can see we have two fishes here in this picture. You cannot see much because they are very, very master camouflage. And they can and sometimes when people dive, they tend to overlook.
Adriana, sorry, we lost your voice suddenly.
Oh, sorry.
Now okay, yes, okay.
Oh, okay.
I think,
Sorry.
yeah, thanks.
Okay, so this fish is always overlooked when diving. So whenever you guys go diving near the seagrasses, watch closely so that you can see this beautiful robust ghost pipefish. Because if you only look once, you cannot see it. So this is how it moves in the water. See, it exactly moves same as the seaweed behind them. So sometimes we help them to or help themselves to ambush prey due to the fact that they are considered as ambush predators and feed on small benthic and pelagic crustaceans. And their size only reaches 17 centimeter and can be found until the wonderful Wunderpus octopus, or the scientific name Wunderpus photogenicus. This octopus is very photogenic because every time you take pictures of this octopus, you cannot take any blurry pictures. It will come out beautiful. And this octopus, people always mistaken it with the mimic octopus, but it is not the same as the mimic octopus because this octopus cannot mimic, but it has another way to catch their prey, which is by webbing. This is a form of webbing. You can see that they stretch their skins around their prey so that their beaks, they can trap their prey and their beaks will so this is how the octopus hunt. And they can be found from shallow waters up to 20 meter deep. Next, the long-eared frogfish, also known as Antenarius.
Sorry again, your mic, yeah?
Sorry, doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So here, okay, let's long-tailed frogfish, also known as Antenarius multiocellatus. This fish is in the same family as anglerfish. It is not in the same family as anglerfish because uses to attract fish to eat. So when they attract fish to eat, they just stay at one place. Commonly can be seen at sponges. What adaptation they have? They hunt by using a lure to attract prey. So they will only stay at one place. So due to the fact that they lack moving, they do not have swim bladders. So they rather walk than swim. So sometimes you can see underwater, they look like they are walking. They are walking, but actually they are not walking. They just cannot swim due to the fact that they don't have swim bladders. And lastly, they are master in camouflage. So it will help them to capture prey easily and can be found inhabit shallow reefs at depths less than 66 meters. And it is also very small, length around 11 centimeters only. Okay, now we will proceed to the organism at soft bottom seabed. Caution for everyone who is not good with worms, I apologize. So first one, we have the ice cream cone worm. Ice cream cone worm is a very unique species due to the fact they uses sand as their shell. This shell is made out of one particle sand. This one particle sand each. So basically they wrap their bodies in one particle sand. And this These worms' length is only around 5 centimeters and can found in shallow marine waters of Western Central Atlantic and in Eastern Central Pacific, Central America to Northern Brazil. So how do these worms survive? They will, can you see me, my hand? Can you see my hand?
A bit of your hand.
Sorry, can you see now?
Now I can, yes.
Okay. Imagine my fist is its mouth opening. This half of their bodies will be trapped inside the sand, and the upper part, which is the tip of the ice cream cone, is out of the sand. So they will use their setae. This one, the gold one here. This one, the metallic gold color one. They will use their setae to dig the sand, and they will use tentacles to grab detritus in the sand. But they will also take the sand inside with them. So the sand will flow and out of their bum, which is the tip of the ice cream cone. So they're out like that. So in, out, in, out, in, out. Next, we will have the bobbit worm, or also known as Unis aphroditois. This worm is look quite terrifying to some people, but it's actually very pretty. Very still, but still, it's very scary if you look up close. Okay, next. This is how it hunts. It hunts by using light and chemical receptors.
Sorry, lost your voice again.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So these worms has 5 receptors at their heads here. These light and chemical sensory receptors so that they can sense the fish. As shown in this video, whenever a fish is close by, they will immediately attack. See, like that. They just attack like that using their scissor-like fangs. So they kind of like Jack in the box. So like that. Up and down. And their length is up to 3 meters. Even though here you see that it doesn't even come to 1 meter when it go out, but its full body is 3 meters with a width of 2 centimeters and can be found in sandy, mucky dive sites. And fun fact, this worm is named in reference to Lorena Bobbitt, who is famous in 1993 to cut off her husband's manhood using a knife when her husband is sleeping. And they decided to name it Bobbitt one because its scissor-like fangs can cut through their prey precisely and nicely. Next, lastly, we have the sea potato. This is a very cute one, Echinocardium cordatum. It is in the same family as sea urchin, but it is very harmless. Here, it is not prickly. It's kind of like when you touch a hedgehog. I read somewhere it says that it kind of like feels like you're touching a hedgehog. Very cute, and very shy also. And it is fed by using their to gather organic petals in the sediment and in the water around them, which will then transported into their mouth. See here, they can also be found buried in sand as much as 15 to 20 centimeters down there, and can be found at sandy bottoms 48.7 meters to the deep sea 457 meters. And when they die, they will produce a skeleton that looks like a heart shape. And that's all from me. Thank you very much. Now for the next presenter.
So next is physical features of the ecosystem. Current patterns that cause a lot of upwelling nutrients, and that upwelling nutrients supports phytoplankton activity, which in turn supports zooplankton productivity and also supports small fishes, large fishes, seabirds, marine mammals, and many more. Another factor for continental shelf formation is the effect of waves on the redistribution of deposited sediment on the shelf. This equates hydrodynamic, sediment transport, and morphodynamic processes lead to continental shelf development with a migrating clinoform, even under conditions of constant sea level. Turbidity currents can be set into motion when mud and sand on the continental shelf are loosened by earthquakes, collapsing slopes, and other geological disturbances. The turbid Water then rushes downward like an avalanche, picking up sediment and increasing in speed as it flows. In short, the kind of sediment that covers the surface of a continental shelf is determined by the interplay among the tectonic setting, the size of the rivers that empty into size based on how much sediment they carry, and the wave energy that affects it, just as is indicated in this case with continental margins in general. Thank you.
Okay, for this case study, research on the roles of saltwater in developing continental shelf. Second, self-evolving continental shelf formation. Sorry, tak dengar ke?
Dengar?
Oh, okay. Okay, second, self-evolving continental shelf formation with seaward migrating clinoform. So the method is numerical model that being used to describe flow hydrodynamic, sediment transport, and morphodynamic. So their goal is to investigate the interaction between sediment dispersal due to hypopycnar flow, surface wave effect on the redistribution of deposited sediments on the continental margin, and shelf morphodynamic in terms of migrating clinoform. Secondly, is the study provide a description of autogenic continental shelf formation due to subaqueous hydrodynamic and sediment transport in the absence of allogenic effects such as sea level variation, tectonism, and changes in sediment supply rate. So their focus is to understand wave effect on the resuspension and redistribution of deposited sediment on the shelf and the resulting shelf morphodynamic. So next slide. Okay, this study emphasized on hypopycnar and hyperpycnar flow. If the receiving basin contains seawater while the river contains sediment-laden freshwater, the hypopycnar river water forms a surface plum that deposits sediment proximally. When the receiving basin contains fresh water of the same density as the sediment-laden river water, the hyperpycnar river water will plunges to form a turbidity current that can run out to deep water. This protoshelf can grow to wave base, and the wave-supported turbidity currents can extend it seaward. That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much. Well done.